Tylko nie ma nic, to tak i robię to jak tutaj. Chcę sobie skasować i wpalić nowe, ustawić tak jak on wstawił i potem te notatki muszę samo wpisywać jak on wpisuje. Bo jak piszę inaczej to tego 145 dalej 53 153 153 tam 66 185 potem 185 187 88 189 189 potem 190 no to 10 chyba 1 chyba 2 było, nie, 2 dalej co on wpisuje 249 249 dalej co on wpisuje 250 251 251 252 chciałem oszukać system i wpisać komendę na wszystkie notatki, tylko mi co chwilę wywala gierkę do menu i się kasuje, muszę tak po kolei wpisywać, żeby się udało. Mam 153 potem 253 tam będzie 5 255 no tam będzie 250 24 wtedy no wtedy potem 254 254 chyba osobno wpisywać 256 256 225 280 ile tam było? 5 255 286. Te komendy fajnie ułatwiają sprawkę. 287. A potem jak kasuję save'a, to potem mogę zacząć potem, bo to jakby było czyste konto. Tak to działa. Następnie czyta, potem będzie 353. Nie powinien dostać coś takiego. O, mam, to są na obrazku. To wyłączę, to wyłączę. I tutaj jak patrzycie, to tutaj były jeszcze te dwa hologramy. Nie wiem, czy tak nie było ten hologram smok, zobaczyłem, zobaczyłem, potem popatrzę. Te dwa, nie wiem, czego to było, ale potem popatrzę, co i jak. Potem wrócę, nie? Na chwilę to potem wrócę. Te dwa, a jak pisałem dokument, żeby wszystko blokować, to ja się kasuje i wywala mnie do menu, do konsoli do menu. Stwierdziłem Dragon hologram i Prodomanite hologram. Dragon hologram i Prodomanite hologram. Chyba jakoś tak. Dragon to jest smok. Ale zobaczymy. Piszę po kolei. Potem to 85. Potem 185. To 85. To 85. Nie, to 86. Zadziałało, wiecie? No i reklama. Ja nienawidzę tych reklam na YouTubie. A ci reklamy są spoko, ale jak nie teraz. 6. No, trzeba to czytać.
So in addition to all of the oddities I've found with wild megalodons, here's the real cherry on top. Taming them is a piece of piss. A bit of training and they're more obedient than the family dog. Now, I've heard of sharks getting very rudimentary training over a year or so, but not to this extent. Certainly not so easily. Sharks aren't mammals or even avians. They're fish. They rely more on instinct, or to put it simply, they're not very smart. You shouldn't be able to ride one like a jet ski. I'm trying to keep an open mind like Rockwell suggested, but this just feels wrong.
Ogólnie ja będziemy grać serię z tego robić, bo na bank tego serię będę robił, bo mnie skusiła ta gierka. To będę robił tak, że nie będę używał ani komend, ani nic, tylko będę po prostu grał i nie odpalę na hardcore, tylko normalną gierkę odpalę. Będzie pojazd ginę, no to bez sensu tam budować i po prostu sobie z tego będę tylko sobie ustawię sobie trochę, postawię tak, żeby nie było oddachu jak najwięcej ze mną, tylko postawię sobie to jak pod siebie. Dobra, ja tu pytam. I tu teraz będzie 100... Chyba... Nie, 335. 353. Nie działa mu to. Ale tak on. Tak będzie chyba najlepiej. Jak piszę to komendę, no to automatycznie kasuje gierkę. Bywala. O, pardon, jak tu idzie. Można się bardziej uszukać, ale tak. Tym sposobem. Dobra. 352. 152. Dobra, zadziałało. Ten będzie... Aha, trzeba to otworzyć.
Well, I'm not dead. And as it turns out, neither was Mei Yin. In fact, it was her who freed me and insisted we follow Nerva through the portal in the cave. A horrifying scene awaited us. All of Nerva's men lay dead amongst the shards of a mysterious metal, but Nerva's body was missing. Forgetting my present company, I suggested a peaceful approach if we encountered him. That earned me one hell of a knockout punch. When I came to, I searched the whole station, but the only signs of Mei Yin and Nerva were a few ounces of dried blood. No bodies, and no Victor. There, floating outside the window and surrounded by machinery, was the very island that I had been living on. And it too was orbiting high above the Earth along with countless other stations just like it. The ecosystem on the island wasn't just curated. It was completely artificial from the ground up. What in the hell is all of this? Why would anyone construct it, and how could they have possibly kept it hidden from the world? I don't have the answers to any of these questions, or the dozens of others that keep popping into my head. But somehow, I mean to find out. Somehow, I'll find the truth.
Wow. Pięćdziesiąt dziewięć. Dziewięć. 80. To 77. Potem to 77. To 78. To 8. No dobra, to wiem jak to robię. Następnie. Aha, to było tu otworzyć.
I've decided to take a brief vacation.
Następnie. Trzy. Nie, 4. Potem będzie 82. 83. Nie. 53. To 24. To 24. A tam będzie 25. Tu 26. To 44. To 44. To 44. Aha. To tu działało. 292. 291. Jest to 300. 301 było. 354. 354. A. Takie to się powinno pojawić. Jest taki obrazek. Tak. Idę dalej, nie patrzę, tylko idę dalej. Ja patrzę. 22. Ja tu mam 22. Idę dalej. 5. O, 84. 4. 200. To było na początku 20. 260. 268. 268. Działało, super. Nie wiem, co działo, czy nie. 269. 269. 200. Gdzie tam było? Kurczaki pieczone. Dwieście było. 269. 270 robimy. No po to mamy inną kartkę. Reklama. Come on. Będę tych reklam. I kolejno. Co dokurzam. No i kolejna. Teraz się reklama zawiesiła z filmem. $253. Nie chcę już reklamy. To skuszę tutaj reklamy. Dwadzieścia sześć to było. To już było. Już sobie przypominam. Come on. 269 jest. Come on. Pięć. 54. 200. To jest 269. To jest to. Tam. Reklama. Tyle reklam. I kolejna głupia reklama. Ja powrotem cofnę do tego. 270. Chyba to pisać, potem przełączyć film, albo napisać. Jeszcze 70.
She noticed that I'd been quite rough lately and suggested that I take a bit of time to myself before she headlong into my next experiment. So
Nie to potem. Dobra.
such an observant young woman, that Isabel. She's somewhat lacking as a chemist, but she understands my moods almost better than I do. I dare say that an old-fashioned adventure will do me some good. Nothing like some rigorous recreation to clear the mind. Perhaps I'll go spelunking. Yes, a splendid idea. I know just the place for it.
Found along the island's many inland waterways, Lutra peloso have become exceptionally adept at hunting and foraging. This species of otter has to be particularly cunning because of its diminutive size and fierce competition for its preferred food source, fish. It is not a creature that excels at combat and would not naturally pose as an intimidating threat to any predators. Finding packs of river otters is simple enough. They are distinguished by their elongated bodies, bushy tails, and webbed feet. Their trusting and inquisitive nature ensures they are often hunted for their lustrous fur, but many prefer to tame them to become trusted companions. There are few creatures which provide the companionship that Lutra peloso does. Rather than travelling beside you, it would prefer to comfortably rest on your back, providing insulation. Once domesticated, it can be told to harvest fish on demand, with a specific goal in mind from the fish that it consumes. The otter has a knack for foraging silica pearls and can even yield a slight chance at finding black pearls within. The first marsupial I've encountered on the island is the Prosoptodon vivencurus. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, it is among Parasaurolophus amphibio, has one of the more interesting adaptations of any creature I've seen on the island. Like all parasaur, it has a signature crest on its head. Very docile at first, I've been able to approach the creature without disturbing it. If startled, however, the creature can vocalize a distress call to the surrounding area that warns of danger. Parasaurolophus appears to be low on the food chain and is hunted by everything, creatures and humans alike, which explains its skittish nature. It is a good source of meat and hide, if you can manage to keep up with it long enough to kill it, despite being what most tribes consider a relatively useless creature to tame. I wonder whether there are no humans anywhere on Earth. Other than you survivors, of course. No sign of them on my scanners. Earth's a big place, of course, but you'd think there'd be radio signals or something to let us know we aren't the last ones on Earth. And if there are no more humans, where they all got. Typically found within the island's caves, Titanoboa exornita is an aggressive creature that prefers dark, rocky areas. Today I witnessed an unforgettable sight. The extremely rare Titanosaurus vagacastrum. Essentially, arguably the deadliest creature on the island, Tyrannosaurus dominum is a killing machine. Active mostly when hunting for food or defending its nest, a good plan is to avoid every Tyrannosaurus. It is pure power from its stomp to its tail. It is not able to intimidate every foe with its roar, but upon hearing it, it might scare the poop out of you. Quite literally. Despite being a different subspecies of Tyrannosaurus, everyone I've met still refers to them as a Rex or a T-Rex. I've long since stopped trying to convince anyone, especially the few who I've encountered wearing Tyrannosaurus teeth as necklaces. Taming a Tyrannosaurus is without a doubt the goal for any warlord or warring tribe. Tyrannosaurus is a fierce battle companion. There is a reason Tyrannosaurus is considered the king of dinosaurs, or in this genus, the lord. Any tribe that manages to tame one has almost nothing to fear. Dimorphodon equisica is another of the island's Jekyll and Hyde creatures. It is normally, despite being one of the island's largest creatures, Diplodocus insula princeps is among the island's smaller sauropods. Instead of size and intelligence, Diplodocus developed faster maximum speed. Greater endurance. Found primarily among the island's redwood regions, October, the best adjective to describe Canis maxillarius is scary. This pack animal, Raphis replicare, more commonly known as the dodo bird, Didocurus custo-saxon, is one of the island's non-aggressive herbivores, generally found in the mountains and grasslands. Large and well-armoured, it has a supply of fat under its plates to keep it warm and fed in the cold. Didocurus has adapted well to the Meganeura quadpenna is an especially large species. Dunkleosteus loricorruptor is a very strange creature. It is a fairly large fish, found only in the deepest depths of the waters around the island. Eurypterids are dangerous. When someone asks me what the fastest creatures on the island are, Giganotosaurus furiosa is an enormous predator, larger even than the Tyrannosaurus or Spinosaurus. Getting cornered or run down by a Giganotosaurus can mean certain death for nearly any creature. Ichthyosaurus curiosa is a comparatively small carnivore. Kairuku waitaki is an amazingly docile and friendly creature to everything but fish. Kairuku waitaki is an amazingly docile and friendly. A smaller relative of Sarcosuchus, Caprosuchus paludentium, is a water-based carnivore primarily found lurking among the island's swamps. A naturally fast runner that is even faster in the water, it is a solitary hunter that picks off small to medium creatures, especially those isolated from their pack. When attacking, Caprosuchus uses two main tactics. First, it patiently waits below the water surface. And when it is difficult to be angry with Hematuria ludus, despite its rather terrible nature, the creature has practically no intelligence and just attaches to any nearby living flesh in an attempt to drain that creature's blood. Removing Hematuria requires precision blade work or access to an open flame. Both of these can be nearly as dangerous to the host as to the leech itself. Once Hematuria attaches to a host, it drains blood at a rapid pace, and the host experiences hunger, loss of health, and lowered stamina. Some Hematuria are also carriers for a dangerous disease I've dubbed swamp fever, which persists beyond the leech's own lifespan. Few creatures on the island are transmitters for this disease, and it can ultimately be cured with a rare medicine. While Hematuria creature is not intelligent. Lystrosaurus amica is a small herbivore, common to much of the island. Seeing the likes of Mammothus steinkaput alongside dinosaurs is still strange. Here is another example of a creature that seems to have evolved beyond its historical traits. Everything points to this being a saltwater ray, but Manta mobila has developed the ability to swim into the island's rivers and shallows, as well as through the open ocean. Perhaps there were originally two types of ray on the island before, but years of interbreed, Mesopithecus amica is an omnivorous monkey species. Until recently, I believed the megalodon to be the Onychonycterus specuncola is one of the few Oviraptor philodiptor is a small to medium-sized carnivore. Common in Pachycephalosaurus is a bit of a conundrum. It is a very passive even friendly herbivore. Common to much of the Paraceratherium giganticus is a massive, long-necked herbivore. That inhabit the much larger ancestor of water birds like the stork or pelican. Pelagornis myosinus shares many traits with its modern-day brethren. However, it seems to spend far more time hunting for fish. Coelodonta utilicero is a friendly herbivore, common to the tundra and grassland regions. Of the island. Smilodon brutalis is a solitary hunter, generally found in cold, lightly wooded areas. The island's mountains are the perfect habitat, as the mammals bird keeps its Stegosaurus regium has approximately 16 paired rows of plates along its back, flanked by another, smaller pair of 6 plates. This is contrary to the alternating rows on Stegosaurus fossils I've seen in museums. Not surprisingly, Stegosaurus uses the spines on its tail to defend itself. While not aggressive, Stegosaurus will come to the aid of another nearby Stegosaurus. This implies it to be a herd animal. Stegosaurus is commonly used as a safe way to transport large quantities of goods. Carbonemys obibimus is one of the least aggressive creatures on the island. Were it not for the plethora of predators on the island, I'm quite certain that it would spend its days basking in the sun, eating or sleeping. Carbonemys leads a simple, solitary life. Nevertheless, it seems to be one of the most peaceful animals I've yet encountered. With its slow walking speed, the only things that keep it safe are its surprisingly fast swim speed and its incredibly thick shell, which can absorb tremendous damage. Carbonemy's swift swim rate, fairly high strength, superior shell defenses, and lack of real threat.
Any chemist worth his salt knows the irreplaceable value of testing. Until a tonic has been rigorously tested, it is less useful than water. To persuade this island's less intellectual inhabitants to see that tests on Mesopithecus serve well for early trials, but they are no replacement for genuine human subjects at later, safer stages. By subjects, I of course mean willing participants that are prepared to risk mild headaches and much less mild nausea for the sake of science. The Laughing Skulls offered rather less willing participants at one point, but I declined. With how difficult it is to find volunteers these days, I sometimes regret it.
The Titanic Korkoi Arrakis is commonly called a death worm by the existence of a creature such as Impusa discipulus is both fascinating, scientifically speaking. Rhenopila amplexus is an adorable little fuzzball, and I just want to hug it forever. Unfortunately, being harmless and lovable is inadequate as a defense mechanism in this wasteland, and that means Rhenopila is at the bottom of the food chain. It's an easy meal for predators and survivors alike, the latter of whom also value its hide. The locals refer to Rhenopila as a jerboa, but while it does look similar in some ways, it is clearly unrelated. The fact that it does not hop is a dead giveaway. In fact, while Rhenopila generally fits into the clade Glyres, it seems to share traits with both rodents and lagomorphs. In addition to being the cutest little companion in the desert, hours of close study and/or cuddling have taught me that Scutinphora putus is a fast, like its smaller relatives, Lymantria sporana, survives by draining plants and vegetable. Colossus petrum is like no creature I have ever encountered. Those survivors have come to call these gargantuan reptiles, like its relative from the island, the Draconis vipera that inhabit the aptly named dragon. Like its relative from the island, the Draconis vipera that inhabit the aptly named dragon trenches are creatures straight out of European legend. Torgos arcum appears to be a relative of Torgos Morellatops dromedarius seems to be a relative of both the Morellatops and Ceratops genuses, which in itself is rather strange. On top of that, it has developed the ability to store water in its humps like This means they're a critical part of the desert's food chain, as it provides predators with both food and hydration. When survivors discovered how to tap into the water in the Morellatops humps without harming, the docile creature became the desert's essential pack animal. Not only can it carry a good amount of weight, but it can provide survivors with a large, mobile water source that can mean the difference between life and death on any given journey. Morellatops has limited options when it comes to self-defense, so I would not recommend taking one into combat. However, so long as survivors don't forget to let Morellatops stop by a well every now and then, they will find the creature an invaluable I had to pick the desert. Why the hell did I pick the desert? Well, I suppose pick is a rather strong word for it. I'm still not entirely certain just my hunting skills are seriously out of practice. Not that I was ever spectacular, but I feel like I'd graduated from smashing bugs with a rock at some point. At least I was thoroughly rewarded for my efforts. My hunch was spot on. These big green bastards are carrying drinkable water on their backs, and thank goodness for that. I may have never known if I'd killed a red one first, since those carry oil instead. Far less useful when you're dying of thirst, let me tell you. I may be fighting the inevitable, though. I'm still on foot, and still alone. Oh, definitely miss Athena. I'm on a roll. By sheer coincidence, I stumbled into another group of survivors today, and they didn't try to kill me or anything. If I didn't know how probability actually, if I'd ended up in this place instead of on that island, I'd have never imagined the ecosystem.
Confound those confused contraptions. Despite my best. Right then, now that I have found a shady spot where I can enjoy a brief respite from this desert, I must say, nothing reminds a man of his own mortality Eureka! At last I have found signs of human life. This afternoon I came across a fresh series of footprints, some from humans and some from, what I assume, are large beasts of burden. I cannot be sure who made them. Or how civilized they may be, but
That bears a Federation exomech, a kind of utility work suit for the crew to pilot inside and outside this starship. Good for repairs, heavy lifts. Our missing crew called this duck-billed glider a Maywing. They genetically engineered it to be a wet nurse. and surrogate parent for all kinds of baby animals. Babies supposedly find their milk irresistible. These machines Santiago's building are brilliant. Somehow he's simplified the
Primitive, savage, how dare you? You are nothing. I am a god. How dare you? Hate you. Hate you. I hate you. Where have you banished me? I am beginning to understand. It was hard. To comprehend. In all my life, I have never seen so magnificent a sight.
among the most mysterious of all flying creatures. Much of what is known about the phoenix exists in legends which have been told through generations. These myths have often changed through the passing of time, but one constant is the belief that fire represents cleansing and renewal. The phoenix embodies this process through its everlasting cycle of death and renewal. Extreme heat waves in the desert seem to initiate the rise of the phoenix, while the end of this so-called superheat precipitated the creature's reversion into ashes. While the phoenix seems ambivalent to most wildlife, if provoked, its ferocity is evident in its ability to set targets aflame with a single bite. Attempting to pacify a phoenix is, quite literally, playing with fire. The phoenix must be continually set ablaze in order to be tamed. I've seen many turned into dust and ash in the attempt. After it has been pacified, the phoenix will regain its vitality when it is aflame. Although its compact size prevents the phoenix from being ridden, its aggressive inflaming has proved to be invaluable in battle. Plus, it can quickly roast up tasty cooked meat and refine raw ores at any time as a living furnace.
Miss Walker's impromptu visits are always an unexpected pleasure. After that headache, salvation, thy name is Prophet's Rest. After a proper meal and some time out of the sun, the makeshift fortress doesn't look half as grand as its name might imply. Yet when I first sighted its walls from across the dunes, it may as well have been El Dorado itself, so grateful was I to find it. Thus far, I have seen little of the inhabitants, but they seem a hospitable sort. I've been given food, shelter, and even a wet cloth to clean myself with. Quite generous of them, considering how scarce water is in these lands. Their clothing is a curiosity, however. Those robes seem more ceremonial than functional.